Ever walked into a bustling restaurant and just thought, man, I could totally run a place like this?
You know it. It's infectious, that energy, the aromas.
That symphony of clinking glasses.
There's nothing like it. And in Kansas, the food scene is booming.
It's ripe for the picking. But, and this is a big but, before you even think about printing those menus,
Before you even design them.
you've got to dive into the less glamorous side of things.
Permits, licenses.
All those official details that'll set you up for smooth sailing.
Exactly. Got to lay that foundation.
Which is why we're diving into Manuvial Blogs, How to Start a Restaurant in Kansas. Permits and licenses, full guide.
Your one-stop shop for navigating Kansas restaurant law.
Consider this your crash course, served up quick and easy. So, what's something most new restaurateurs completely miss when starting out?
Honestly, the legal stuff. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of, the menu, the decor.
The vibe, the music, all that fun stuff.
Exactly. But that strong legal foundation, that's essential. Can't just open your doors without making it official.
Making it official in the eyes of Kansas law, that is.
Exactly. You've got to register that restaurant, make it a legal entity.
So it's like, hey, world, we're here, we're a real business, and here's the paperwork to prove it.
Exactly. And just like you've got options for your menu, you've got options on how to structure your business. Sole proprietorship, LLC, corporation.
Each one comes with its own recipe for liability and taxes.
Like choosing the right ingredients.
So walk me through this. What are the key differences? How do I know which structure is the right fit for my restaurant?
Okay, so picture this. You're running the show solo. You are the business. That's a sole proprietorship.
Easy to set up, right?
Oh, incredibly easy. But there's no legal separation between you and the business. Debts, lawsuits, they fall on your shoulders. Now, if you want a bit of a buffer,
This little breathing room.
an LLC is the way to go. It's like a shield between your personal assets and the business.
Like separate ingredient lists.
Exactly. Now, for those larger ventures, maybe you're thinking multiple locations, franchising.
Thinking big.
Then a corporation might be the better fit, but it's definitely more complex to set up.
Or cooks in the kitchen, so to speak.
Exactly. But no matter what you choose, you absolutely need that business license from the state of Kansas.
Right, because we want to make sure everything is legal and above board.
It's non-negotiable. And here's a little insider tip. The cost of that license can vary across Kansas. Check with your specific city or county.
Like sourcing local ingredients, sometimes the prices fluctuate. Okay, so we've tackled the business side of things. Now let's talk about what really matters. The food.
Getting to the heart of it.
And in Kansas, food safety. Non-negotiable.
They are not messing around.
No cutting corners, because we want to make sure those dishes are as delicious as they are safe to eat.
You got it. Customer health is paramount. And we're talking serious stuff here. Fines, closures. You don't want to mess around with this.
Absolutely not. So first things first, I need what is it?
A food establishment license from the Kansas Department of Agriculture.
Okay, so it's like my restaurant's health certificate.
Exactly that. But here's the kicker. Before you even think about plating that first appetizer,
Before a single dish goes out.
you've got to pass a pre-opening inspection.
And these aren't your average pop-in visits, are they?
Oh, absolutely not. They are thorough. Think. A health inspector with a magnifying glass.
Every nook and cranny?
Everything. Your cooking equipment, how you store your food, even the temperature of your dishwasher.
Wow, that's intense.
It's all about making sure you're meeting those stringent health and safety standards that Kansas has.
So it sounds like you really need to be on top of your game from day one.
100%. No time to slack off. And here's the kicker. Those inspections, they can be unannounced.
Wait, really? Unannounced? Talk about pressure.
It keeps you on your toes. You and your team need to always be ready. Make sure everyone's trained on all those food safety procedures.
Create that culture of cleanliness.
Exactly. From day one.
And speaking of teams, you mentioned training. What kind of training are we talking about here?
In Kansas, you need at least one certified food protection manager, a CFPM.
Okay, so that's someone on my team who is a food safety pro, knows all the regulations inside and out.
They're your food safety captain.
Love it. But what about the rest of my team, the folks actually handling the food?
Many counties in Kansas, they actually require all staff involved in food prep to undergo food handler training.
So that's preventing cross-contamination, proper cooking temperature.
Groks, everyone's on the same page, all about safety.
That makes sense. A well-trained team is a safe team. Now, we've covered the business side of things, the ever so important food safety. What's next on our checklist?
Location, location, location.
Ah, yes, the eternal truth of real estate. Let's say I found the perfect spot, but before I sign that lease, what do I need to know?
Zoning regulations, my friend.
Ah, yes, zoning permits. It's like falling in love with a pair of shoes, only to realize they don't come in your size.
Exactly. You got to make sure that prime location you've got your heart set on is zoned for commercial food service.
Talk about a major setback.
Huge. So zoning is key, but even if you're in the clear, you might need additional permits depending on your vision.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
Say you want a bustling outdoor patio, you're likely going to need a special use permit for that.
So you might need special permission for something that's not automatically a go.
You got it. Or maybe you're doing a major renovation, transforming that old bakery into a sleek, modern bistro.
Love it.
Be prepared to tango with building permits.
Building permits. Tell me more about those.
Think of building permits as your blueprints for construction, for renovation. You'll need detailed architectural plans that comply with those local building codes. We're talking electrical systems, plumbing, all those essentials. And be prepared for inspections throughout that entire process.
To make sure everything's up to code, safe for me, my team, and of course the diners.
Exactly.
And speaking of safety, let's talk fire safety in the kitchen.
Oh, crucial, especially with all that cooking equipment.
Open flames, sizzling grills, hot ovens.
Potential fire hazards galore.
So break it down for me. What kind of fire safety measures are we talking about?
First and foremost, a fire suppression system. Think of this as your first line of defense against a kitchen fire.
And then, of course, fire extinguishers.
Absolutely. Strategically placed and not just tucked away in some random corner. Make sure everyone on your team knows where they are and how to use them.
Right, because in an emergency, every second counts.
Every second. And let's not forget clearly marked fire exits. Those pathways need to be unobstructed, well lit.
So if a fire does break out, everyone knows how to get out quickly and safely.
Exactly. It's all about creating the safest possible environment for everyone. It's all about being prepared.
Now let's switch gears to something a little more fun, shall we?
I'm all ears. What could be more fun than fire safety?
Adult beverages?
Ah, yes. Serving alcohol can definitely add to the ambiance. Plus, it's a nice boost for the bottom line.
But I'm guessing there's some pretty strict regulations around that in Kansas, right?
You're telling me Kansas isn't exactly the Wild West when it comes to alcohol.
So if I'm dreaming of, I don't know, signature cocktails or a killer wine list.
You're going to want to get real familiar with the Kansas Alcoholic Beverage Control.
The ABC, for short.
They are the gatekeepers of all things alcohol.
Sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to get that green light to serve those celebratory toasts?
Well, first things first, you'll need the proper liquor license. The most common one for restaurants, the drinking establishment license.
So that's my golden ticket to serving beer, wine, spirits.
You got it, but
There's always a but.
Kansas is serious about responsible alcohol service. And I mean serious, checking IDs, like religiously, knowing the ins and outs of intoxication signs.
So no serving to anyone who even looks a little tipsy.
Not even a little.
Wow, so it's not just good practice, it's the law.
100%.
And I'm guessing any slip-ups could mean serious trouble for my restaurant.
Oh, yeah. We're talking hefty fines, suspension of your license, or even revocation, a restaurant owner's worst nightmare.
Okay, I get it. Responsible alcohol service is a top priority.
It's about protecting your customers, your business, and honestly, your peace of mind.
Speaking of which, let's talk about another crucial ingredient in a successful restaurant. The team.
Ah, yes. You can't do it alone.
It takes a village. So what are the legal things I need to think about when assembling my A-team?
Labor laws are key. You got to treat those employees right and follow all the requirements.
Of course. How do I even start?
The basics. Minimum wage. As of 2024, that's $7.25 in Kansas.
Got it.
But there's a separate minimum wage for tipped employees.
Oh, right.
Which is $2.13 per hour. But, and this is a big but, those tips have got to add up to at least that regular minimum wage.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about overtime? How does that work in Kansas?
Any hours worked over 40 in a work week, you got to compensate them 1.5 times their regular hourly rate.
Got it. I want to treat my team right, make sure they're taken care of. Now, let's talk insurance. What do I absolutely need to have?
Oh, insurance is key. Think of it like your safety net.
Better safe than sorry.
First and foremost, workers' compensation insurance. Not an option in Kansas if you have employees.
So that protects them if they're injured on the job.
Exactly. Medical expenses, lost wages, the whole 9 yards. Plus, it protects you, the owner, from potential lawsuits.
Okay, workers' comp, got it. What else should I be thinking about?
General liability insurance.
Oh.
Imagine this. A customer slips on a wet floor. Or, I don't know, you get hit with some unexpected lawsuit. General liability. It's your shield. Protects you from that financial blow.
Wow, that's a relief to hear. Any other types of insurance that would be good to look into?
Absolutely. Property insurance. That's going to cover the physical structure, your equipment, your inventory in case of, I don't know, a fire, theft, vandalism. And if you really want to cover all your bases, business interruption insurance is a smart move.
Okay, business interruption insurance. I've heard of it, but tell me more.
Say a disaster forces you to close your doors for a while. Fire, flood, whatever it might be. Business interruption insurance helps cover that lost income, so you can still pay your rent, your employees.
Those essential expenses.
Exactly,
Well,
even though you're closed.
That is incredibly valuable, like a safety net for my business's income.
Exactly. And let's not forget, if you're serving alcohol, you need liquor liability insurance.
Right, so if a customer has one too many and ends up causing an accident, that's where that comes in.
Exactly. Just an extra layer of protection.
Good to know.
And last but not least, food contamination insurance.
Food contamination insurance. That sounds a little scary, to be honest.
It's all about preparing for the worst case scenario.
A foodborne illness outbreak.
Exactly. And this insurance helps cover potential lawsuits, lost income, even the cost of cleanup if that happens.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. Better to be safe than sorry, especially when it comes to food safety.
Exactly. Now let's change gears. How about we talk about something a little more exciting? Marketing.
Oh yes, marketing. Because what good is having all my legal ducks in a row if nobody knows to come eat my food?
You got it. You need to get those hungry customers in the door.
Absolutely. What are some effective ways to market my restaurant, especially in today's digital world?
Think of it like a perfectly plated dish. You need the right balance of ingredients. We're talking digital marketing, social media savvy, and a dash of those tried and true traditional tactics.
I love that. Let's break it down, starting with digital. Where do I even start?
Your website is your digital storefront. Make it count. It's got to be visually appealing, easy to navigate, showcasing everything amazing about your restaurant.
These days, people want an experience. It's more than just a meal.
100%. High-quality photos of your dishes. Non-negotiable. Make their mouths water.
Beautiful food photos are a must.
Oh, yeah. And you can even think about a video tour of your restaurant. Give those potential diners a feel for the ambiance, the vibe.
I love that. What about social media? Everyone's on it. How do I stand out?
Social media is all about connection, right? Showcasing your personality, building a loyal following.
It's like word of mouth, but digital.
Exactly. So my top tip, visuals, visuals, visuals.
Food is all about visual appeal.
Exactly. High quality photos of those dishes, behind the scenes glimpses of your kitchen, even videos of your team hard at work. You're giving your audience a glimpse into the heart of your restaurant.
Love it.
And don't be afraid to show off your personality. People connect with authenticity.
So engage with my followers, respond to comments, show them I'm a real person.
It's called social media for a reason.
I like it. Now, while we're in the digital realm, should I completely ditch those old school marketing tactics?
Absolutely not. They still work.
Those old school methods still resonate.
Exactly. Flyers, posters, partnering up with local businesses, they never go out of style.
Think outside the box, get creative.
Exactly. Partner with other businesses, cross promotions, sponsor local events.
Get your name out there.
Exactly. And word of mouth. Never underestimate its power.
Nothing beats a recommendation from someone you trust.
You got it. Encourage those satisfied customers to spread the word.
Okay, let's fast forward a bit. My restaurant is open, the reviews are great, things are running smoothly. But how do I make sure it doesn't just survive, but thrive long term?
That's the golden question, right?
What's the magic formula?
Well, first of all, never stop listening to your customers.
They're the ones eating my food, experiencing the service.
They decide if they're coming back for more.
Exactly.
So pay attention to that feedback, the good and the bad. Use that to make adjustments.
In the restaurant world, you're only as good as your last meal.
Truth. Another key ingredient. Stay ahead of trends. Things change constantly.
So experiment with new dishes, different cuisines. Don't be afraid to shake things up.
Exactly. And while you're busy wowing those taste buds, don't forget about the numbers.
Ah, yes, the financial side. Not always the most fun, but definitely important.
It's crucial. Keep an eye on those finances, manage your inventory, and always look for ways to be more efficient.
Time is money, especially in the restaurant world.
You got it. And here's another big one for long-term success. Invest in your team.
Oh, 100%.
A dedicated, passionate team. That can make or break even the most amazing restaurant.
Couldn't agree more.
Treat your employees well, offer growth opportunities, create a positive work environment.
Happy employees, happy customers.
Exactly. And finally, never stop learning. This industry, always evolving. Stay informed, stay inspired.
Attend those conferences. Read those trade magazines.
Network with other restaurant owners.
Love it. Now, let's circle back to those health inspections. We aced the first one, but maintaining those sparkling standards, that's an ongoing process, right?
You said it. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
So let's say those inspectors show up unannounced.
Yeah.
What are some common violations that could really get a restaurant in trouble? What should I be extra vigilant about?
Improper food storage temperatures are a big one. It seems basic, but it's crucial.
Right. We don't want to create a breeding ground for bacteria.
Exactly. Invest in reliable thermometers. Train your staff on how to monitor those temperatures like hawks.
Got it. What else?
Cross-contamination, raw meats and ready-to-eat foods that can't be hanging out.
No cross-contamination, separate cutting boards, designated prep areas.
All of that. And don't even get me started on hand washing.
Soap, water, 20 seconds. No exceptions.
It's the easiest way to prevent the spread of germs and those often overlooked areas. Behind the equipment, under the shelves, inspectors check it all.
So basically, every nook and cranny needs to be spotless.
A clean restaurant is a safe restaurant. And speaking of things you don't want in your restaurant, pests.
Nobody wants a cockroach in their kitchen.
Exactly. Make sure you've got a pest control plan in place.
Prevention is key. So let's say a restaurant gets hit with a violation. What happens then? What are the consequences?
Well, it depends on the severity. A minor thing, maybe a warning, but a more serious issue, we're talking fines, even a temporary closure.
So it's really not worth trying to cut corners or cheat the system.
Not at all.
It's about genuinely prioritizing my customer safety, creating that culture of food safety from the start.
100%. You got it.
Now, what are some proactive things I can do to not only ace those inspections, but to really build that foundation of food safety in my restaurant?
Make food safety a top-down priority. It starts with you, the owner.
Okay, so lead by example.
Exactly. Make it clear that food safety is everyone's responsibility, from the dishwashers to the chefs.
Got it.
Provide regular training for your staff. And I don't just mean the basics. Keep them updated on new regulations, best practices.
Because the world of food safety is always changing.
Exactly. And a little positive reinforcement goes a long way. Recognize and reward your staff for going above and beyond.
Create that culture where food safety is just ingrained in everything you do. I know we've talked a lot about the must-dos, the potential pitfalls, all that legal stuff, but let's not forget the real heart of this industry, the passion, the creativity.
The joy of sharing delicious food with the world.
It's easy to get bogged down by the details, but never lose sight of that.
Never.
So to all those aspiring restaurateurs out there, remember, opening a restaurant, it's a marathon, not a sprint. There will be challenges, regulations to navigate, unexpected curveballs. But don't let those overshadow the excitement.
Exactly. Find that balance. Passion, practicality, creativity, and compliance.
I love that. Well, before we wrap up this deep dive into Kansas restaurants, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
We've covered so much ground today, it's easy to forget things.
I know, right? Licenses, permits, those unannounced health inspections.
Let's do a quick rewind, make sure it's all crystal clear.
Love it. A little refresher course never hurts. What's first up on our list?
That all-important business license, your restaurant's driver's license.
Your permission slip to operate in Kansas.
And don't forget those renewal dates.
Oh, right. Don't want to let that one expire. Set those reminders.
Exactly. Now, back to food safety for a sec.
Because you can never be too careful.
You've got to protect those customers.
Absolutely. No compromises when it comes to their health.
So that food establishment license from the Kansas Department of Agriculture, top of your to-do list.
And, of course, those unannounced inspections. Always a thrill.
Like a surprise party you weren't really ready for.
But hey, if you're following the rules, you've got nothing to hide.
Exactly. Just a chance to show off how clean and safe your establishment is. Now, if you're serving alcohol,
which we dream of,
those liquor licenses, they can feel like a whole other beast.
Definitely don't want to mess with the ABC.
The Kansas Alcoholic Beverage Control. They're serious about responsible alcohol service.
Right. No serving anyone who looks even remotely tipsy.
Not even a little. Make sure your staff is trained, checking IDs, recognizing those signs of intoxication.
And refusing service responsibly.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our business license, our food establishment license, our liquor license. What about those other essential permits? Zoning, building, all that jazz.
Those are crucial, especially if you're planning any renovations or building out a new space.
Right. Don't want any surprises during construction.
Exactly. Work closely with your city or county. Make sure you're meeting those building codes, those zoning regulations.
Do your homework up front. So any other legal pitfalls I should watch out for? Things that trip people up.
Even with the best intentions, it happens. One of the biggest, misclassifying employees.
Okay, meaning what exactly?
You think someone's an independent contractor when they should legally be an employee? Big no-no.
Okay, so how do I avoid that?
When in doubt, get an expert. An employment lawyer, an HR professional, they can help you navigate those tricky labor laws.
Got it. Expert advice for the win. Anything else I should watch out for?
Wage and hour violations. Make sure you're paying your employees correctly, following those overtime rules.
Keeping accurate records of hours worked.
You got it.
Treating my employees fairly is a top priority for me.
As it should be. And on a similar note, don't forget about those anti-discrimination laws. Treat everyone fairly. Employees, applicants.
Right. Regardless of, anything. Race, religion, gender, everything. It's not just about being a good person, it's the law. Okay, changing gears here. We talk about marketing, social media, but what about the legal side of marketing? Are there any rules there?
Oh, absolutely. Even for something as delicious as food.
Give it to me straight. What do I need to know?
Truth in advertising is huge. No misleading claims about your food or your service.
No bait and switch.
Exactly. And be careful with intellectual property copyrights.
Oh, right, like if I'm using photos or music?
Exactly. Don't use anything without permission.
Okay, so I need to make sure I have the rights to all my marketing material. What about online reviews? Any rules there?
Oh, yeah. Can't offer incentives for positive reviews. And definitely no writing fake ones yourself.
No stuffing the ballot box. I want authentic feedback.
The best kind.
Okay, before we wrap up, I think it's important to acknowledge something. We've talked a lot about the rules, the regulations, but opening a restaurant,
It's about so much more than that.
it's about the passion, the creativity, the love of food.
Exactly. Creating an experience, building a community, sharing that passion.
And that's something no license can give you. It's got to come from the heart.
100%.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the exciting world of Kansas restaurant regulations. We hope you're feeling informed, inspired, and maybe just a little bit hungry.
To all you aspiring restaurateurs out there, best of luck. We can't wait to see what you bring to the table.
Thanks for listening.